A lot of the language came straight from ALDOT, Aeronautics, and the FAA.
That concludes our public hearing.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to get a little bit out of sync right here for a minute. For a number of years, there has been a young lady that has attended our council meetings, and I don't know of many that she has missed. And she gives a report from the Chamber of Commerce, upcoming events, and telling us what's going on, what has happened, and what's about to happen. Tonight, I understand that this is going to be your last time to do this, but we're going to allow you to go ahead and make your presentation at this time. We've always had you on the end of the agenda, so we're going to put you up front tonight.
Oh, well, all right. Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. The Wetumpka Area Chamber of Commerce has greatly appreciated your support through our contract with you for all of these years, and even the years that had preceded my employment. It's been my pleasure to meet with you and this council throughout these 19 years, and this will be my last meeting. I have only one announcement. That will be our annual membership meeting and banquet, which will be January the 19th. That's on a Thursday evening, beginning at 6 p.m. in the Wetumpka Civic Center. We hope that you will come and join us and that you will make your reservations with the Chamber office. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Joe, would you stand? Mr. Wood, would you stand too? You would. Let's give him a hand. Jan, I've looked around this room, and the only one that I can find that has been here longer than you, I believe he's seated right over here. Washington. He's almost been around longer than you and Joe.
Just you and us, huh?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to unfinished business, and that will be the New Year's Eve activities. And I got a pretty good report on that a while ago.
Yeah, we need a motion to approve $5,000.
We need a motion to approve the $5,000 for this event.
So moved.
We have the motion, we have the second, any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So this activity has been approved.
Thank you, Councilman.
First reading of the ordinance for the Drug Task Force.
An ordinance to approve contract with Central Alabama Drug Task Force and matching funds, whereas the city of Wetumpka, Alabama has previously participated in the Central Alabama Drug Task Force by the Wetumpka Police Department, and whereas the purpose of the task force is to work cooperatively with other law enforcement agencies in the city and the county, being the District Attorney's Office, the Elmore County Sheriff's Department, and the Fort Street Police Department, and to pool their collective resources in order to effectively enforce and control substance laws of the state of Alabama. Whereas the city has deemed it advisable to support a special drug enforcement unit to combat the drug and drug-related crime problems facing the city and the county and better protect its citizens. And whereas it is advisable for there to be a written agreement to formalize the cooperative agreement between the different agencies involved and provide the structure for the operation of the task force. Whereas the Wetumpka Police Department has previously been taking part in the task force and the city has participated in providing necessary funding for its operation. And whereas the task force has requested that the city provide matching funds in the amount of $75,000 for its share of the operating cost of the drug task force. Whereas the city of Wetumpka has the authority to enter into a written agreement with other municipal or county entities for the joint exercise of its police power pursuant to the Code of Alabama, Section 111021, as long as the contract does not exceed 3 years at a time. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wetumpka as follows. Number one, that the agreement for the Central Alabama Drug Task Force, which is attached hereto and incorporated herein, is hereby approved. Number two, that the mayor and chief of police shall be authorized and directed to execute said agreement on behalf of the city. Number three, that the matching funds requested from the city in the amount of $75,000 are hereby authorized and awarded. Number four, that if any provision of this ordinance is declared unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, it shall have no effect on the validity of the remaining provisions of this ordinance. Number five, that this ordinance shall become effective upon its adoption and publication is required by law, adopted and approved on this blank date, December. Mayor, if the council does so choose to consider immediate action, we will need a motion to suspend the rules and bring it for consideration at the first reading, and then also the second motion to approve the ordinance.
Mayor, I would move for the suspension of the rules and bring up the immediate vote on the drug task force.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion, any discussion? Okay,
Yeah.
roll call.
Howard?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Holt? Yes. Carter?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Okay, so we have suspended the rules, so now, do we have a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Mayor, I adopt the motion that we adopt this ordinance to read back third for the Central Alabama Task Force.
We have a motion, do we have a
Second.
second? We have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Roll call, I'm sorry.
Howard?
Yes.
Washington? Yes.
Holt? Yes. Carter?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Okay. That ordinance is adopted. First reading ordinance for airport rules and regulations and minimum standards. Regina?
Whereas the city of Wetumpka, Alabama is the owner of real and personal property located on Alabama Highway 14 on the Wetumpka Municipal Airport, and whereas the city has, in the course of its operations, previously leased a portion of said property to individuals or entities who have erected buildings on said property for commercial use, and whereas the city has also leased T-hangars to individuals or entities for the storage of their airplanes, and whereas the city was advised that it is needed to have updated policies, procedures, rules, regulations, and standards to cover the operation of the airport and the leased premises that would comply with the requirements of the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, and the Alabama Department of Transportation Bureau of Aeronautics, which is ALDOT. And whereas the city approved an agreement on April 18, 2011 with Garber Engineers LLC for them to draft said policies, procedures, rules, regulations, and standards for the municipal airport, and to obtain the necessary approvals from the Federal Aviation Administration and the Alabama Department of Transportation Bureau of Aeronautics of same. And whereas the new airport minimum standards and airport rules and regulations have been completed and approved by FAA and ALDOT, and whereas the city of Wetumpka has the authority to operate, regulate, and police the Wetumpka Municipal Airport pursuant to Alabama Code Section 4-4-7, etc., and pursuant to such authority, desires to adopt the proposed airport minimum standards and proposed airport rules and regulations, and have them codified as the Airport Minimum Standards Code and the Airport Rules and Regulations Code. And whereas the city of Wetumpka has held a public hearing for comments on the proposed airport minimum standards and proposed airport rules and regulations, after giving the required notice and making copies of said documents available for public examination, all in accordance with Section 11-45-8 of the Code of Alabama, 1975, as amended. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wetumpka, Alabama, as follows. 1, that the proposed airport minimum standards and proposed airport rules and regulations are to be hereby adopted and codified as the Airport Minimum Standards Code and the Airport Rules and Regulations Code for the Wetumpka Municipal Airport, and are incorporated herein by reference. That the mayor and city clerk shall be authorized and directed to execute each of said codes attesting to its adoption and codification on behalf of the city. That any form of ordinance conflicting with the provisions of this ordinance is hereby repealed to the extent of any conflicting terms. And if any provision of this ordinance is declared unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, it shall have no effect on the validity of the remaining provisions of this ordinance, and that this ordinance shall become effective upon its adoption and publication as required by law. Adopted and approved on this blank day of December 2011.
Having had the reading of the ordinance, is there a motion to suspend the rule to move forward to adoption?
Mayor, I'd like to offer a motion that we suspend the rules and to move forward with this adoption.
Okay, we have the motion, do we have a second?
Second.